We are invading wildlife habitat, or we're disrupting wildlife habitat. Either way, we're allowing animals and people to come into novel, intimate kinds of contact. And when that happens, their microbes can jump over into our bodies and become pathogenic. So from bats, we've got Ebola and Marburg and Nipah and a number of other viruses, SARS as well, most likely. Camels are probably giving us Middle East respiratory syndrome. From monkeys, we most likely got Zika. From other non-human primates, we got malaria, we got HIV. From birds, we got influenza. So this is how they're emerging, and then we're allowing them to amplify in our cities, in our crowds. And that, of course, first started in the 19th century, and cholera took great advantage of that. You know, people were flocking out of the farms to come into these, for these new factory jobs in the city. And there wasn't a lot of room to sprawl back then. They didn't have metros that take you out to the outlying areas. So everyone had to live near work or near the possibility of work. So places like New York City in the 19th century had about 77,000 people per square kilometer. And this meant that they were breathing on each other more, touching each other more. Their waste was contaminating their food and water. There's no sewage system in 19th century industrialized cities. In New York, they had privies, they had cesspools, they have outhouses. There was no rule that you had to empty any of that stuff out. So people did what they did in the countryside. They just let it sit and try to decompose. But of course, with 77,000 people per square kilometer, that wouldn't happen before the waste actually ran into the streets, overflowed into people's wells, contaminated the groundwater. So as soon as a pathogen like cholera enters an environment like that, where it spreads through contaminated waste, it would just explode. So that process of urbanization, of course, that started in the 19th century, is only reaching its peak now.